school police policy.
Yes, at this time, I'd like to have Wanda Paul, Chief Kitzrow, and Lynn Powell come forward to talk about our school police policy in a workshop forum. Thank you so much.
That wasn't nice.
Good afternoon, Chairman Barbieri, school board members, and Dr. Fenoy.
I don't think your microphone's on.
Show's on.
It's on now.
Can you hear me now?
No.
It's a delay. Again, I'm here to present to you with Chief Kitzrow and Lynn, our policy for 2.38, the crisis response planning for all hazards events. And so with that, I'll let Chief get started.
Thank you, Mr. Barbieri, members of the board, Dr. Fenoy. Just an update to policy 2.38. A lot of changes made here, being recommended here tonight is to bring us in compliance with Florida State Statute 100607. And the policy is very strong to begin with, but we want to be able to match the terminology to the statute itself. So it's going to include current best practices and some wordsmithing and cleaning up some of the processes here. So you should have a copy of the policy in front of you, and I'm just going to hit on the PowerPoint the changes as we go along. So under Section 1, we're adding the words "in each ancillary facility," and that is because the policy needs to include all school district properties and not just schools. So you'll see that as a recurring theme throughout this presentation. If you move down to Section 2, there's really no changes in that in terms of the scope. Policy Section 3, we have. No changes on Section 3. That remains as it was. On Section 4, we made changes to clarify that announcements are to be made at each school and ancillary facility, also to include who is responsible at ancillary facilities. So you'll see in the actual verbiage there under Section 4 where it says responsibility for district schools and ancillary facilities during crisis or emergencies, that the area has been alerted by an official announcement at each school, and then further down in the language you'll see where we added the ancillary facility language. It says requires announcements all ancillary facilities. It shall be the responsibility of each department head, assisted by personnel assigned to that facility, to ensure that the necessary steps are taken to prepare for the pending event. And so that clears that up just a little bit about who needs to do that and how that happens. If you go down to Section 5, again, we added department heads to be sure that all district properties are covered. So, including those ancillary facilities. Under Section 6, so we've added this section here to comply with Florida State Statute 1006.076C. And basically, what this says is that we implement the procedures for active assailant response training of all district personnel as follows. Under subsection A, it lays out the fact that we can provide that training by having our employees attend live training, reviewing PowerPoint presentations, or watching the video guide to active assailants, all hazards, and lockdowns. We have that available to all employees in the district, and all employees are required to review this policy. Also, Section B there tells us when we have to do that, and Section C is a requirement that by October 1st of each year, the superintendent shall certify that all school personnel have received the annual training, and all of our personnel have received the training. Going on to Section 7, this is change reporting from emailing forms to e-forms. In the past, we would just have people email things. Now we're a lot more efficient working through the e-form system. And it added the process for review and approval requirements, and you'll see that language there in the red. On Section 8, there's no change on Section 8. On Section 9, we have changed the old policy from 2 drills per year to the 10 required by law. And we deleted the code blue and white as they are encompassed in other codes and mandated drills, and that these drills be uploaded into PeopleSoft the same day as the drill occurs. And so we have a little redundancy there. So as the drill is uploaded into PeopleSoft, we also enter that information into the computer-aided dispatch system within the police department so that we can balance out the records at the end of the year to ensure we're in compliance. Number 10 is no change. Section 11 was added because of including the ancillary facilities to the policy. If you notice, Section 10 and 11 are exactly alike, with the only exception that 11 requires the procedure to be included in the ancillary facilities as well. Number 12 was no change. 13 was no change. And then 14 was no change as well, so that policy remains. The rest of it remains as it is. So that's the presentation. If you have any questions about any of it,
Chief, go back to let me find it. It's the paragraph that says that all drills should be documented in PeopleSoft on the same day that they're given. Couldn't that be a kind of a burden on a school that does a drill at the very end of the day during dismissal, and then the people that would normally enter that are gone for the day? I mean, I don't know who does that. Well, I guess it would fall on the principal then if the bookkeeper or the secretary's gone already. And so why can't it, is it by law, or can it say within 24 hours by the end of the next day, the next school day, that it's documented?
I can't. Do you know if it says that by law?
It is not required.
So it's not required by law, Mr. Barbieri. I think one of the challenges that we saw in the past was there was a delay in reporting these drills, and so consequently there was some question about whether or not drills were conducted. We had to go back and redo the process to ensure that they had been conducted. So we put that in there as check and balance. Certainly if that is a recommendation to put it within the next business day, I'm good with that, as long as it gets done in a timely manner.
Yeah, maybe we should check with principal leadership and ask them, how that would work in a school that has those issues at the end of the day, some kind of drill. Ms. McQuinn?
Yes, on number 11, I did read all of this ahead of time, but now I'm reading it a second time, so I just have one question. The ancillary facility site after the inspection, after the hazard, where I lose, when we're on 4, small Roman numeral 4, we're referring to flooding or damage in the general area of the school. Help me with that. We're talking about ancillary facility, and then we're doing the school.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That should probably be ancillary facility there as opposed to school. We just made it match the...
I didn't catch it the first time, so.
I didn't either, so thank you very much. Anything
else? So, Mr. Superintendent, can you check with principal leadership on that one and see if they...
Keith, if we could, let's discuss that. I think what I don't want, I hear you, but I want to make sure that we stay in compliance. And so maybe let's sit with the regionals and instructionals to find out what would be a reasonable amount of time. I have to make sure that there aren't extensions. Like it needs to get done, because it's hard for us to chase down all those schools. So let's put that on your agenda, and we'll get back to the board on that, Mr. Barbieri.
Thank you. All right. Any other questions from the board? Mr. Superintendent, you can move on. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. We are